Action. Start. Sharonne.
I regret to inform you, but there's a 90% chance your baby will have trisomy 21 or Down syndrome. What if this was handled differently?
Hey everyone, do I have a treat for you today? I have not one but two actresses. Yeah, from this movie here. Sharonne and Ginger. Hey ladies, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah. It's been almost a year. It's almost like 10 months, I think now, since the release of our short film, More Than a Diagnosis. It's been a wild year. It's been all over the globe, honestly. In other countries, Canada, Croatia, it did really surprisingly incredibly good there. I think I had the most attention from Croatia, and I had to look it up where it even was. It's phenomenal, but I just have to say it's really touched a lot of lives, and I can't ever thank you two and the whole crew enough. It really was, and I think the biggest thing that people say is all that in just 3.5 minutes. And something that most people don't realize, it's 3 minutes and 21 seconds on purpose, because it's represents the third copy of the 21st chromosome, which is Down syndrome. So anyway, if anybody wants to watch it, check it out at this website right here. I do want to just take a minute to talk to you, both of you. And I know you've done all kinds of things. Both of you have done amazing movies and short films and everything. Ginger, tell me just a little bit how you got into acting.
Like the first bug hit me when I was 9 years old. I didn't know exactly like how I would use it, but my 4th grade teacher forced us all to learn the I Have a Dream speech from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And what happened was my school was actually having a contest it was an oratorical contest, and it was voluntary, but my teacher was like, nope, everybody in the class, you're going to learn it and you're going to do it for the class, and you can go to the contest if you want. But prior to that, like I had no experience whatsoever speaking in front of people, but because I was forced to, I did it, but I ended up loving it, went on to do the competition, won the competition. But what like really hit home with me was that there were a lot of like people in the audience who had lived during that civil rights era, and the looks on their faces, like the expressions, like just took me. Then I realized, I was like, wow, Sharonne, your words have power. And so that was like the first little seed that was like, maybe you want to do something with this. So yeah. That's kind of, and I still talk to that elementary school teacher till this day. And I thank her so much, because I'm like, I don't know when that bug would have hit me if you didn't force us to do that. So yeah.
How did you get into acting, Ginger?
So I did some modeling back when I was a teenager, and then I took a big break from it. I used to do a little play here and there, like at church or something, but it was never a big thing like I want to be an actress. But then a couple of years ago, when they're about to start filming Jesus Revolution, before I knew about that, I started getting it on my heart, like I really want to do Christian film. And so I'm asking my husband, do we need to move back to Nashville or something where there's more going on than there is down here in South Alabama, which I love. But I was like, I don't know. I just really feel like I want to do this. And then I found out that they were filming 10 minutes from my house. And I'm like, I know nothing about how to get on these shows, but I'm going to be on that show. So I figured out how they even cast all the extras and things like that, and signed up. And then, man, once I did that, there was just absolutely no going back. And I haven't stopped, I don't think, for a day since we filmed that thing. But I just love it.
So was Jesus Revolution your first faith-based film?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, it was, and I didn't know anything. I was sitting there asking, like, they asked me to be no, they didn't ask me to be a stand-in. They told me I was going to be Hirsch's wife, and I'm like, cool, who's Hirsch, and what are they talking about? And we're sitting there in the church for the scene, and some guy that was the stand-in for the actor was sitting beside me, and he goes, I was talking to him, he's like, oh, you're probably just a stand-in, I don't know, and I'm like, okay, and because I thought maybe he was the actor, I didn't know, and I was asking questions the whole time to the actor that I was married to. He was so sweet, though. He was answering everything and letting me be a newbie with a million I don't know what's going on questions. And so he was really good. It was a great first film experience. I mean, you can't really hardly beat Jesus Revolution as far as being a beginner in any, or even if you're not a beginner. I mean, you can hardly beat that one. So God just brought that out there, and I felt so blessed to be a part of it. My goodness, I didn't deserve to get to do that, but it was pretty cool.
Now, Sharonne, what was your first big feature? I guess I remember you from LifeMark, and it was just a few seconds.
Gotcha. My first big feature. I don't know, but I guess like the biggest one that I may have done might be Son of the South, which is the movie where I play Rosa Parks. So that particular movie was produced by, executive produced by Spike Lee. And it deals with this guy named Bob Zellner, who is a civil rights activist. His grandfather was a member of the Ku Klux Klan, but he switches to the side of fighting for equality, literally. And he's actually still alive today. So got a chance to do that. I think we shot that in 2019 before COVID hit. So that was probably one of my bigger ones. Played opposite Cedric the Entertainer and Lucas Till, which is pretty cool. That's probably my I mean, I say biggest one, right, but I don't know if that's like the biggest one in my heart. So it was really awesome to be able to play. Yeah. But we have so many films that are just our babies.
Right.
So it's just kind of hard.
Completely, yeah. Big film meaning just big budget.
Right.
You are. That sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna have to watch that now.
Is it safe to say the More Than a Diagnosis is your smallest film? Probably in length, right?
Only in length. Definitely not in magnitude for sure. Definitely not in magnitude.
Yes.
But I did want to bounce back real quick to the Son of the South, because that Rosa Parks now she already had like a special place in my heart, but now she really does. There was this one line in the film that I'll never forget, and it actually kind of guides me to this day. She was talking to and this happened in real life. Rosa Parks was talking to Bob Zellner, but she tells him, she says, one day you're going to have to make a decision, and not choosing is a choice. So like ever since then, I'm like, oh man, like we have to be like so intentional with what we're doing on a daily basis. Like, and if we're just sitting on the sidelines being like, well, you're still making a choice and it's still causing an impact. So
very, very true.
Good. I love, Sharonne, that you had a big full circle there from when you first started, and then you got to be in that movie.
I know.
So full circle. That is awesome.
That's true. That's true.
That's too cool.
Wow.
I often describe that one as the fulfillment of a dream that I didn't know I had. That particular
dream.
Right.
Ooh, I'm stealing that. I'm gonna start using that.
Who would you say is either of your biggest influence as far as actors or actresses? Who has influenced you the most since you've started in acting?
Ginger, you take it. You take it first.
Let's see. Oh, that's hard. I don't feel like I have necessarily any actors or actresses who I have realized have been a huge influence, but I will say the director that I work with the most, that you've interviewed before, Steve Moon, has been a huge influence on my career as far as helping me do more things and stretch myself as an actor, because we do these challenges where he'll give me these really challenging roles, and I have to stretch who I am and and do something different each time. And I think honestly, that's been one of the biggest reasons that I've been able to do the things that I've done, is because he's helped me develop as an actor. I have a lot of actresses that I admire and that I love their work. But I think that's been the biggest thing that's helped as far as me developing my skills or whatever.
You've done a huge variety of characters, from a pregnant
Right.
mom to
Yes.
someone, all these other different characters to a deacon's wife and all these other things.
Yeah.
Out of all those, what was the hardest?
Oh goodness gracious. You know what the hardest thing is for me? We did a little comedy and it was so hard for me to play just a normal. I was a little bit of a snob, which that's not hard for me. But playing like just a comedic type of thing is extremely difficult for me compared to a heartbroken, um, angry or whatever. Those roles, those dramatic roles, come much more naturally to me, I guess, than the other types of roles. Those are always hard. Those are a challenge, but I appreciate those because I love challenges. I love to be stretched.
Now, Sharonne, who has been the biggest actor that influenced you at all over the years?
On the acting side of things, like I love Charlize Theron's body of work, Don Cheadle as an actor, and Will Smith. And I say that because those three, to me, offer crazy versatility, like crazy. Like I can see them in one movie and see them in the other, and they're totally different. And like I forget that I'm watching, especially Charlize Theron. Like I forget that is her. Literally, Will Smith does a lot too. I'm like, how do you, like, they literally morph, and I'm just like, wow, that's so inspirational to me. Because there's some actors that are like super awesome, but like you still see themselves in like all of the work, which is great, right? I mean, I'm probably that way too, but it's just something about those actors who morph, and I'm like, wow, I'd love to get on that level.
Yeah.
That's there. But then like on a more personal level, like actors that I talk to, like I love all my actor friends. So let me preface that by saying that. But mad respect for Karen Abercrombie, who's the lady who played the prayer warrior in the Kindred Brothers War Room, Miss Clara. I just remember like when I first saw that movie, like she just really grabbed me. But then like I've worked with her throughout the years on a couple of projects, and like we're able to converse over the phone, and she just has so much wisdom. And so I love that she takes that the moral stance with the roles that she portrays, but then you see that in her everyday life. And it's admirable. So I love it.
But who's been your favorite character to play? And you're just like, I love that. I'd do it over and over. That type of character. Is there one or two?
Yeah. The character that I portrayed in a comedic film called Imposter Pastor.
Oh, yes.
What was my name? I forgot my name. Denise.
I have seen that one. I've seen it twice. That is good.
But the reason I like it is because I got to play with so many different emotions and so many different moments. So there were a lot of moments of, just being lighthearted, and then you have the dramatic scenes, and then you're upset, and so you just kind of got to like run the gambit, as opposed to like some of the roles, especially like the supporting roles, or the smaller supporting roles. You have your objective for that, scene or whatever, and so you can play a little bit with that scene, but then that's pretty much it. There's no huge variety, so that's probably why I would go with Imposter Pastor. It's great.
So Ginger, who's been your favorite character to portray? I know you've done a huge gambit of films and characters.
I have. And also, I watched Imposter Pastor, and yes, you did awesome in that movie. No, there's a movie. It's not out yet, but it's called Diamond, and I played an ex rock star who became an alcoholic, and the whole movie, it's more of a character movie. So I had a real chance to get down deep into some emotions in that one and play with the character, and of course it stretched me to try to figure out how to act like I'm an alcoholic without actually drinking anything. And it's a deep and raw story because something happens in the story that is painful, and I had to figure out how to express that, and we filmed that actually in one day, which was amazing. So it was a feature. That has been my favorite character because there was just so much depth and so many layers I feel like I was able to access working on that film, and it's still not out yet. It will be eventually on Prime, I'm sure, and I don't know where all, but that is that. And then we're working on another movie right now called Our Final Hour, and I'm playing a woman called Fauna in it, and I'm working on spreading it's where the message of, Christianity has been outlawed in America in this movie, and so I'm working on spreading the message underground to the rest of the world by doing little not announcements, but little broadcasts on like a phone or an iPad or whatever, and then I throw it away, and then I go and move to another area. And that one is really an interesting character to play too, and I'm really enjoying that one, so I can't wait for everybody to be able to see it. But I love doing all different types of characters. I love putting on a new personality for that day, but those are a couple of my favorites. But yes, the pregnant lady was also a great character to play.
Now your families have probably seen most, if not all, of your stuff. Do they have any favorites as far as characters or films or both?
Personally, I don't know if my family has any favorites or not. When I think about my kids, they're so used to me doing random stuff or going and being this random lady in this audition. They have some of my lines memorized.
Do they?
I don't know. They do. But you know what? Honestly, even though I was a silent little side character over there in Jesus Revolution, I know my daughter loves that movie. So more than likely, that's her personal favorite. And my husband, I don't think he has a favorite. He just supports whatever I'm doing. I don't think he has a favorite.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure either. I feel like they like them all. I feel like my mom commented a lot on when I played Rosa Parks. Maybe more than the others, but I don't know. She comments on everything, so that's kind of hard to say. And same thing with you, Ginger. Like I feel like my husband likes everything. But like so much, like it's almost like you guys are being ridiculous now, because like if I have like one line, they're like, well, when's that one coming on? I'm like, guys, you don't need to see that one. Like, you're gonna watch a 2-hour movie for like one line. They're like, yes, and let us know. And I'm like, okay. Even like interviews, like I told my mom I was doing an interview, and my husband too, as a matter of fact, with you, Jeff, and they're like, great, let us know as soon as we can watch it. And I'm like, all right, I got you. So they like it all.
Ginger, this is the first time you've ever played a pregnant lady.
Yes.
Now, Sharonne, you've done more work out there in as a medical professional, whether it's a doctor, eye doctor, nurse. So you've hit the medical community, almost all the characters in the medical community, if I recall.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that wasn't really even the reason. I didn't really even know that when I asked you to play the doctor in our short film, and I didn't really think about it, because I wanted the weight of a woman doctor giving a diagnosis to another woman. Jay Carr is in this movie. If nobody has seen it, go watch it. He's a wonderful actor with Down syndrome, and he did absolutely awesome.
That I do appreciate your attention to detail, because I remember when you first contacted me, or we had the conversation over the phone about More Than a Diagnosis, and you were telling me everything about it, and I think I was pressing you to more. So I wanted to do, because I'm trying to do more producing and directing, stepping behind the camera. And I was like, I can help you in any way that you need. I don't need to be an actress, but actually I think I recommended somebody for you too as well. It was a male. But I remember you explaining, but I think I just see this doctor as a female, and you went on to explain why. And I was like, I could totally see that. And I totally just appreciate your attention to detail. I think that what you created was just something so awesome, just so beautiful, with all of the characters coming together, and just that, like you said earlier, like being able to tell that powerful of a story in 3 minutes and 21 seconds is amazing. And it kind of reminds me of like what God does with our life. It just takes one touch, boom, impact.
I mean,
I love it.
He wrote this film and just gave it to me, and then he connected us, and it was so many different connections. You can't say it wasn't God, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I would have never met any filmmakers or directors or anybody, and I have to give them a shout out in their movie. If you want to support them, they are David and Jackson Hewins are making a movie, and it's on my website right here. You'll see Jay and the link to their movie, the proof of concept and everything. It is phenomenal. I can't wait until it gets rolling.
Yeah.
But without them, none of this, and without any of it, it's amazing
Yeah,
how, like you said earlier, how everybody gets put in your path. And I think
that's
Ginger was
how we
the
met.
very
That's what
first
it
one,
was.
huh?
Yeah, that's how we met. It was because of Made with Love. You and I. That's how we
Right.
met.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember you were the very first person I told. And the movie poster I made all on my phone, because just a couple snapshots I took, you all didn't even know it. The one snapshot I had intended for the poster didn't work, but just a couple off that I was just sneaking. And I'm like, these two I could put together. And that's, I just have fun with that kind of creativity as well. Do either of you have any dream roles of characters from any movie or a remake or anything? You're like, man, this would be a great movie and I could be this. Or does that even come to you? Or you ever think about that? I mean, when I was young, I was like, man, I would be the greatest Clark Kent, I'd be the greatest. Every kid wanted to be Superman, Do you all have anything like that, currently?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Superman, because I have always secretly, but I'm starting to get more vocal about it because I'm getting older, wanted to play an action hero. Like, I just want to like run and chase people. I need to have like what a good storyline for that would be, but I think it would be fun to just be some kind of action hero or whatever. I think that'd be awesome.
Cool, Sharonne, you have got to do that.
I know. But for TV shows, I always thought I was gonna be on Touched by an Angel. I don't even know if people even know that show. It's so old. Like, it went off the air when I was in college, and that's when I was studying theater. And I was like, well, that just went out the window.
I do think it would be cool to be like some kind of elven queen in a totally Lord of the Rings-ish looking thing, and also a barefooted pioneer teacher lady something, or cowboyish looking one. And also we are at some point making a 1920s looking glamour old Hollywood film in which I have to play that lady as well. And that's just a few of the random things that are in my head. But yeah, it's a never ending fountain of, oh, that would be cool.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
I think it's fun.
Have either of you, when we first released the More Than a Diagnosis film last July, did either of you get any people, maybe things I don't even know about, any feedback from people like, man, I can't, any feedback that you all happen to come across yourselves? That
a lot of people commented on the impact that happened in such a short amount of time. Like we just talked about a few minutes ago, I had a lot of comments with that. Like, wow, that was really profound and didn't take long.
Any people think you're really pregnant, Ginger? I know you always emphasize I'm not really pregnant.
Nobody asked me that, but probably so, because again, the acting skills. But I had people write me and tell me they're Sharonne, what are you cracking up about that for? But I did have people write and say they would tell me their own story after they watched it. So I did have a few people that, even people that I didn't know, that would write and tell me that they watched it and then go into their own story. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been to a couple events, one locally and then one in Florida, Down syndrome conventions and conferences, and so many people, when they've watched it or they've heard about it, will tell me their story. I have no clue who they are, but they all of a sudden tell me my diagnosis. You got to hear this or something like that. I've heard hundreds and hundreds of them, and it's just incredible. To hear these stories, people just, hey, oh, you made a film on that. It's amazing the people that have gone through these diagnoses, whether it's beforehand or at birth and afterwards. It's been really, really exciting just to talk to people and hear them share their stories. One thing I didn't think about, and I've said this before, it's how many people, and women especially, that it validated what they went through. And another thing that I never thought of either is a lot of moms, especially, no matter how they've received their diagnosis, will go through a grieving stage that's quite natural and expected. They don't really realize until they're there. I mean, a grieving stage of oh, my child is not what I expected at all. And it's
Mhm.
so I've learned so much on this journey, and I love talking to people about their experiences and their
Man,
diagnoses.
that's part of the reason why I love what we do in this industry. So you mentioned earlier that you didn't know that you were going to submit to a film festival,
Yeah,
be a part of that. But you also, I know that we've talked, you also didn't know you were going to create a film.
right.
But like this industry is so powerful. The art of storytelling is so powerful for all of the reasons that you just said. You heard all of this amazing feedback. But I just love the impact that we have with how we use our gifts in a creative way. And some of that can be used for evil. I mean, you think about like a lot of the stuff that's being pushed through media right now, and it's just kind of leading people in a downward
Right.
fashion. But when you take things, like this, that really help to open up the conversation of love and just being positive, and then especially in the faith-based world where we're pointing people to God, I just like, for me, I'm just like, you can't beat that. You just can't beat that. It's just so incredibly fulfilling and gratifying to be able
Yeah,
to use our gifts in that way and just continue to lift people up and point people towards our creator.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Do you get really critical of your own things, either of you? I'm sure you do, of your own performances. But do you see something else? Someone's like sent you like, "Oh, ain't this great?" And you're like, sure. I'm sure you get that.
For sure,
Well,
for sure.
yeah, I mean, people who can, like she was saying about a character or an actress that she looks up to earlier, how you're just watching and you're no longer paying attention to the fact that it's an actor playing a role. That's when somebody's really doing an amazing job, when you can just watch it and you're not like, sometimes when I watch commercials I see it and I picture that person's audition in my head, the awkwardness of standing in front of your cell phone tripod doing something stupid. Like I watch the commercial and I see that person's audition in my head. I'm imagining, wow, they were just in their room going like, watching the
Right.
fake fireworks or whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, it's true.
All that
And
goes through my head.
Well,
I think too, like as actors, we can get critical of ourselves. I know I can. And what has helped me is that I realize I'm not making it for me, right? So if you're watching a project and you're like, "Oh, that was great," in my head, I'm like, "Oh, this is horrible." But it's like
Cringe.
you liked it and it touched you in a certain way. It's for you anyway. So
Yeah,
boom, let me let it go.
that's good. That's good. I like that.
I know. Thank you all for coming on and sharing a little bit about your lives. I'll put in the description how they can follow you and see your projects and stuff. And it was an honor having you in both in my short film, and I can't wait to see how it goes from here. It keeps, I can't even keep track of the views because I only have a way to keep track of my YouTube views, but it's gotten other influencers have picked it up and got tens of thousands in a week and across, and it's on other websites and playing in other areas. And I'm just like, you two are all over the world in just 3.5 minutes, you know?
Well,
And
I
it's
want to say it was
amazing.
an honor to work with you though, Jeff. Like seriously, like I'm so glad that our paths crossed and that, we're now friends, and I hope to work together some more in the future. But your heart is just amazing. And so it's just, I
Well,
love it.
thank
I
you.
love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I'm so appreciative of you guys too. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of that. I love just to do these random projects, but when it's something impactful that can actually make a difference in people's lives, I mean, that is amazing. That's what we're here
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yes, so much.
Yes.
Well, until next time, everybody check out these two incredible actresses and all the work they're doing. All you have to do is Google their names, probably. Thanks again.
I can see you far and wide across the ocean above the clouds.